Okay class, Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. So today we're going to learn on vitamins. So we have two component of vitamins. One is fat soluble vitamins and the another one is the water soluble vitamins. So for today we're going to learn on the water soluble vitamins first. So when we mention about water soluble vitamin, it means we are referring to vitamin B and vitamin C. Yes. So all these vitamins, okay, the bioavailability, which means the absorption, it depends on the quantity of the quantity provided by the food itself. For example, like some sources of food is rich with those specific vitamins but less in other vitamin. All right. And then the amount absorbed and used by the body. All right. And then there are factors that influence the bioavailability. For example, the efficiency of digestion. All right. For example, fat soluble, it needs to be passed through some sort of barriers first before it can be used, rather than the water soluble vitamins. It can be used directly, okay, because it can freely travel in our body. While it depends also on the nutrient status of the individual, and it also depends on the method of food preparation. For example, if we look at vitamin B, for example, thiamine, all right, if we expose it to high heat, the vitamin itself will be um, diminished. All right. And then we also look at the source of nutrient, and also we look at the other foods consumed at the same time, because when we happen to eat foods that have for example vitamin A and also another vitamin, it can interact with one another. For example, iron, we need to increase our iron absorption in our body. Then if we consume vitamin C also during the iron intake, it will enhance the iron absorption. So it means that the interaction will help to increase that particular um, iron absorption, for example. Okay. Tapi ada juga yang bila kita consume one vitamin and it will decrease the intake ataupun the absorption of the another vitamin. Kita akan pergi lebih mendalam lagi dalam slide yang mendatang. Right? Okay, slide mendatang, whatever. Okay, this difference between water soluble vitamins and also fat soluble vitamins. Right? So in terms of the absorption, for water soluble vitamins, it can be directly absorbed into the blood, while for fat soluble vitamin, it needs to go to the lymph first and then to the blood. So if you can still remember how fat travels in our body, right? So if fat travels in our body, like they have to use a transport. Okay, if you still remember the LDL and then HDL, LDL, all right? So it needs a transport. So for water soluble vitamins, it can travel freely, while for fat soluble, it needs a carrier, or we call it as a transport. Fat needs a taxi to travel from one place to another place, right? And for storage, right? So water fills parts of the body, while fat soluble vitamin, it is being stored in cells associated with fat, all right? So in terms of excretion, pembuangan, so the kidney detect and remove the excess in urine. While for fat soluble vitamin, it is less readily excreted and tend to remain in fat storage site. That is why kalau kita consume beyond the recommendation for water soluble vitamins, it is tak bahaya sangat. It does not reach the toxicity level because it can be excreted through the urine. While for fat soluble vitamins, once you consume more than it is required, all right, when you consume more than it is required, it will remain in your fat storage. So it is likely to reach the toxic level. So you need to be more careful when you consume the fat soluble vitamins, because it can be stored in your body. So that is why for water soluble vitamins, because it can be easily remove the excess, so the requirement is frequent, like 1 to 3 days. For example, if you let's say you have um you have deficiency in vitamin C, for example, and the doctor requires you to take vitamin C supplement. So normally you have to consume vitamin C every day, right? Right. But for in the nutritionist perspective, if you do not have any disease and you can consume a healthy normal way of eating, it is suggested to take from raw foods rather than you get it from supplement, right? Okay, class, so we're going to the next page. Okay, for vitamin, okay, vitamin is not part of the energy intake, right? Vitamin is not considered as the calculation in energy intake, right? So vitamin is considered as an important part, which is the most important function is as a coenzyme. Coenzyme ni macam you jadi pilot, ada co-pilot. It assists the enzyme to react faster, right? Okay, so if you could see here, this is the enzyme, all right? So this is this side, and then this is the compound, all right? So if the coenzyme exists, so it can really help the compound to bond with one another. So it can help to to complete the reaction faster. Okay, class. So right now we're going to look at the vitamin B1. Kita ada vitamin B1, B2, B3, B4, B5, B6, B12. Alright. So this is the first one, vitamin B1. Alright. Or it is known as thiamine. Right. Kita ada thiamine. So thiamine is involved in energy metabolism as part of the coenzyme thiamine pyrophosphate TPP. So you have to remember its function. And then you also need to know the requirement, which is about 1.2 milligram per day. Right? Biasanya vitamin ni tak banyak mana lah kita perlukan, just in a minimum amount. I mean, it's just in a smaller amount. Right? Tak banyak mana pun. So, kita dah tahu dia punya function, dia punya requirement. We want to know what happen if we have low thiamine intake. So, jarang sangat berlaku, right? So this is what happens when you have low thiamine intake. It can enlarge heart and possible cardiac failure, muscular weakness, anorexia and weight loss, poor short-term memory. Alright, so that is what happens when you have deficiency in thiamine. So also you can happen to have edema. So edema ni adalah bengkak air. Okay, kita panggil bengkak air. So try to tekan your leg. So if you and then you count in, masa you tekan tu, you count 1001, 1002, 1003. After 3 seconds, if the kulit tak naik lagi, it means that you have edema. Alright. So cuba tekan, ada ke tak? Confirm tak ada Alright. Sebab it rarely happens for us to have thiamine deficiency, right? Sebab kita makan banyak daripada sumber thiamine. So, apa sumber thiamine, we will look after this. So, besides that, thiamine deficiency, that person will have we call as Whitney-Korsakoff syndrome, which is, this syndrome is when it has a severe deficiency that develop in those who abuse alcohol. So those who are alcoholic, they will develop this syndrome, which is called Wernicke-Korsakoff. So try to search what does it look to have the Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome. All right. And then deficiency in this thiamine also result in beriberi, which is it has two. One is wet beriberi, which is can depict by the edema. And then we also have dry beriberi. So it can presented by having muscle wasting. So during those time in Indonesia, okay, masa zaman lama dah lah, right? In Indonesia, there were a number of population that has the beriberi. So people were trying to discover why was beriberi was highly detected in the Indonesian population. So they found out that beras yang mereka makan tu, diorang buang apa? Kita panggil apa? Germs dia tu. Apa tu? Dia makan beras putih saja. All the endosperm semua dah tak ada, right? Because why? Because the sumber of the vitamin B1 is generated from the whole grain itself. Dia kena whole grain. Whole grain tu bermaksud biji-bijian penuh. Alright. So thiamine ni banyak dalam beras, banyak dalam grain products lah. So kita pun kadang-kadang bila kita basuh beras tu, kita basuh sampai 80 kali lah nak bagi bersih kan. So we don't need to do that. Basuh banyak kali sampai hilang all those thiamine. Alright. So just basuh sekadar yang ni 1-2 kali saja bagi buang all those air yang keruh-keruh sahaja. Or not, all the thiamine will be lost. Alright. So steaming and microwaving are cooking methods that conserve thiamine. Okay, kalau nak kekalkan thiamine, you boleh steam and microwave. So thiamine akan hilang dalam water with boiling or blanching. Alright. So this vitamin is easily destroyed by heat. Okay, that is thiamine. Okay, now thiamine tadi sumber dia paling banyak adalah biji-biji rin. Yang kedua, riboflavin. Riboflavin sumber dia adalah banyak di dalam susu. Alright, milk. Tadi biji-biji rin, yang ni pula milk. So riboflavin pun involved in energy metabolism. So the requirement is sama juga lebih kurang macam thiamine tadi. So these are deficiency symptoms if you happen to have deficiency in riboflavin: inflamed eyelid, sensitive to light, okay, the reddening of the cornea, and then sore throats, okay, cracks and redness at the corners of the mouth, and lebih kurang macam scurvy juga lebih sikit, alright, and then painful, smooth and purplish red tongue. Okay, so bila berlaku deficiency, it is also known as riboflavinosis. Okay, tapi setakat ini there's no reported of toxicity. Okay, so sumber dia macam saya beritahu tadi banyak dalam susu. Alright, it can easily destroyed by UV light, but cannot be destroyed by cooking. Okay, so now tadi dah thiamine, riboflavin, now is niacin. Niacin is vitamin B3. So niacin is involved in the metabolism of glucose, fat and alcohol. Alright, so this is the requirement, which is 16 niacin equivalents, and RDA for the woman is 14 niacin equivalent. Okay, niacin selain dapat daripada dia sumber dia adalah banyak daripada ikan dan daging. Okay, selain dia dikata dekat sini, the body can obtain niacin from dietary niacin. Dietary niacin, it means that referring to the sources, the food sources, macam ikan, daging. And dia juga boleh dapat daripada dietary tryptophan. Sebab dekat sini, 60 mg of dietary tryptophan is equal to 1 mg of niacin. So, if you happen to have low niacin, but you have high tryptophan, the tryptophan can be converted to niacin. So 60 mg of dietary tryptophan can help to contribute to 1 mg of niacin. So that it is. That is it. Alright.